So what's this mean for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? And kind of, it's so funny, man. It really cracks me up whenever I've been seeing people celebrating Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because I think my favorite picture in the whole world is the picture on Instagram and Twitter being passed around of all the vice presidents, and they're all obviously white males. And all the vice presidents are black and white, like they're black and whited out. And then there's Kamala Harris, and like this huge picture of Kamala Harris, and she's in like this like full color. And the narrative is like, finally Kamala Harris, stuck it to all these old white men. And two people over from Kamala Harris is Joe Biden, the president, her president. Like I heard someone say in support of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden that black is the new orange, like that we're replacing Trump and all that stuff. And it's like, guys, like Joe Biden's white, like this is not some insane. It's almost like they got so lazy they're just taking. I saw a lot of people just quoting Obama. They weren't even quoting Biden. They were just like, it would be like a picture of Obama and it'd say something like, like, thank God Trump's gone. Now we've got new stuff in the White House. Boom. Obama quote and picture of Obama. It's like, what the hell? He's not in the White House. And that's what I'm talking about. Those are the people who are just celebrating to celebrate. They're celebrating the anti-Trump move. And that ain't it, guys. That ain't it. That ain't the move. The move is not to just have these personal investments in politics. It's not who's the coolest person, who's the most Yas queen, who's the most diverse. It has to go back to who is the right candidate. This is not a sport. This is not your favorite actor or actress winning an Oscar. It's ridiculous to see. And look, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be celebrated. Just like with Obama, I think celebrating the first African-American president is fine. Celebrating Kamala Harris being the first woman vice president, fine. But it shouldn't be this like Kamala Harris is Yas queen, and then the 13 or 14 Republican congresswomen who were elected, in the biggest year for female Republicans. I don't think that should be swept under the rug. I don't think the media should shit all over Sarah Palin, and no one mentioned anything about her Yas queening. But then we have Kamala Harris, who all of a sudden is the ultimate Yas queen. It just shows how much people don't know what's going on. And I think when people gravitate to those kind of things, I think it's kind of sad, actually. And that's more evidence for why I think mass media is going to go away. We have CNN, or we have journalists who are celebrating these huge groups of people, celebrating Biden and Harris, simultaneously turning around. There was a guy, he tweeted like 11 hours apart. And one of them, he was celebrating groups outside the White House. And in one, he was saying how bad it was that Notre Dame stormed the field after they beat Clemson. And when he responded of why he was celebrating one and not the other, he said, "Oh, well, it looks like most of the people are wearing masks and stuff outside the White House, not really doing it at Notre Dame." It's like, what are you talking about, bro? At least own it. You're telling me that you can see everyone outside the White House wearing a mask? It's crazy. It's so dumb. But that's how you know it's not about America. That's how you know it's not about policy. It's not about making America, excuse my pun, but it's not about making America great. It's about, haha, LOL, I won, you didn't, my team won. I thought there was something I'm seeing all over the place now is like people preaching for unity. People are preaching, now we can unify. And I saw a tweet, I think it's a YG song, the F Donald Trump song. People were saying it's a time to unify, and that song was playing in the background. Michelle Obama said the 70 million people voting for Trump are all, evil people voting for an evil thing. And it's like, they don't care about any of that shit. They don't care about unity. They don't care about any of that. They care about, haha, we got the bad orange man out of the White House. I saw someone who was like, today is an easy day to be a parent. The day that Biden was announced as president. It's like, today is an easy day to be a parent. Why? He's not even the president. Like, what makes it an easy day to be a parent? Is systemic racism gone? Is there economic wage gaps gone? Are the inner cities being funded? Is race relations just fixed? Is coronavirus fixed? We had like the biggest swath of numbers of the coronavirus the day that Biden was announced president. And people are like, yes, it's such an easy day to be an American. It feels so good outside. It's like, guys, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed, you idiots. Like, it's just so crazy. People are, I mean, we joked around about it that the next election will be held on Twitch, and subscriber numbers and followers and emotes is going to determine the presidency. But that's kind of where we are, where people are voting. They're voting for who they like. They're voting for who's got the best Instagram. They're voting for who Yas Queens the most. And it's just, I'm scared of that because, and I don't like talk like this. I don't like this kind of like, you don't know how I feel about when people bring up Nazi Germany and stuff, but this is how you get into a fascist situation. This is how you get into like a totalitarianism kind of world, is where you're only electing these cult of personality people and you only care about the person. And it's one of those like, this person, whether it's, it doesn't, either side of the aisle, this person can get us out of whatever issue, or this person can save us, or this person can defeat the bad guys, or this person can bring us back to glory. That is like the fascism 101 playbook of candidate is the key to getting us back to a great place. And then people just follow into that candidate, and then it just happens. Like that's again, I'm not comparing this to Hitler, but that's like what happened with Hitler. Hitler's whole thing was like, this one person can get us back to our former glory, And all it takes is one bad one. I'm telling y'all, like all it takes is enough elections of this obsessive, personality-driven voting where you're only voting for The Rock or you're only voting for whoever. I mean, it's like right now, when I hear about 2024, people are like, is it going to be Kanye West? Is it going to be The Rock? Is it going to be AOC? Like they're basically... It's almost like they're trying to cast a movie or something. They're not worried about policy. It's like, why is The Rock even mentioned? Why is Kanye West mentioned? They're mentioned before Ted Cruz. They're mentioned before Tulsi Gabbard. They're mentioned way before legitimate Andrew Yang. Like people are voting for Kanye West and The Rock before they're voting for Andrew Yang. It's like, guys, we got to stop the cycle. We got to stop the cycle of vote or die, and these select. Who is Billie Eilish gonna tell me to vote for? We have to stop that, and we got to start looking at, okay, well, what works in this country? What doesn't work in this country? What are some problems we're facing? How do we fix those? Whose policy really addresses that? I have a video on YouTube that talks about pandering. It talks about how a lot of candidates pander to certain cultures because they use cultural icons to our cultural like kind of stereotypes to connect with those voters versus addressing the issues. And my whole thing is that parts of culture should be appreciated and celebrated, but they shouldn't be the only thing that's talked about, right? Like I think in the specific video, Kamala Harris was wearing Timbs, and Joe Biden was listening to Despacito, and it's like, if we're only worried about candidates' coolness or their fashion or their podcast or what they wear or what they look like and all that, and we replace that with factors of why we're voting, again, the 60% of Democratic voters who voted for personality traits, if we're replacing legit policy with that, then we're kind of screwed, because then we won't really have a president. We'll just have the coolest kid in the class. And a lot of the times, the coolest kid in the class probably shouldn't be the president of the student council, Like, just because The Rock's Instagram is pretty crazy and just because he's big and jacked doesn't mean that he should be the leader of the free world, So I think that, I think that, things are such a circle that I think we're going to go away from that. I do not believe that people will keep falling into that trap. I think once they see, it's one of those things where it's like, they wanted, it happens a lot when you're a kid, but you want something really, really bad, and you're obsessed with it. It's all you talk about. You think it's the greatest thing of all time, and you finally get it, and it turns out to be not that big of a deal. And it's almost like a buyer's remorse or whatever. I think we're going to see a little bit of that, where everyone was so into the woke culture. Everyone was so into the anti-Trump thing. And then I think we're going to get 4 years of relatively nothing to where it's like, oh, well, shit, this isn't that different. Like, this isn't, this really isn't that big of a deal. You know, I think it might move away from that. I think we will get away from that mindset. So that's kind of my prediction for the country as far as that. Now, we could lean into it. And we could vote Jared Leto as vice president. I mean, you know, I don't know. I tend to think that, you know, level heads or whatever will cool and people will get back to, and I'm not saying only elect politicians, but I think it'll be more than, oh, I like The Rock. Yeah, he could be president. It'll be more than that. Like, if The Rock has good ideas, if The Rock is vocal and all that, yeah, whatever, you know, but I think we'll stop scrolling Instagram looking for presidential nominees, and we'll start actually listening to people who should be presidential nominees. So that's my hope, at least, because I do, and I'm not saying that we're walking into a fascist situation, but I am saying that that's how it happens. Is that when you only listen to these like super cult of personality type people, and you only are voting for personality and characteristic traits like that, you leave yourself wide open to disaster. I mean, Trump did a really good job as far as president, but imagine electing someone who couldn't. Like, imagine electing someone, again, like Kanye West. And let's say Kanye West gets president and the Democrats, the blue wave happens and all that, and he's got total power, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, oh my God, he's making some real sweeping changes. You know, you don't want that to happen. And nothing against Kanye West. I'm saying, like, it just takes one. It takes one. And the more times we vote like that, the more times that I think we run the risk of having a truly disastrous 4 years.